Thank you very much, Mr. Williams, and a pleasant good afternoon to all. Now, yesterday we announced the cancellation of social events, and since then we have been receiving many calls from persons seeking clarification on this announcement. Today I wish to provide some clarification as to what events or what type of events have been cancelled. We know that crowds and crowded events or crowded places provide a medium for the spread of the virus. And so we have targeted those events that are usually crowded and where no physical distancing or no regard for the other COVID-19 protocols is the norm. And so what events fit this profile? Parties readily come to mind, so parties of all types, boat rides. We know boat rides is just a party on a boat. Bands and DJs playing at bars and restaurants and other events. These are the main events that are targeted for cancellation. However, I may add that bars and restaurants may still operate. However, we expect that these establishments operate within the guidelines specified in the COVID-19 regulations. For restaurants, I would read what the Act says. For bars and restaurants, restaurants may take away food, restaurants and takeaway food vendors may operate. And they may operate for the purpose of food delivery or food takeaway services. They may also offer in-dining service. So restaurants, you could provide your takeaway service and you could offer in-dining service. However, all persons shall adhere to social and physical distancing protocols. No more than 8 members of the same household should be in close proximity to each other. No more than 2 persons who are not from the same household shall be grouped together or share a table. Spacing between tables shall allow for a minimum of 6 feet between persons. And all persons, including restaurant staff, shall wear a face mask covering their nose and mouth in accordance with these regulations. For bars, if you're operating a bar that doesn't have a restaurant attached, you may open for the sale of liquor in accordance with the provisions of your license. All persons shall adhere to social and physical distancing protocols. All persons shall adhere to hygiene protocols pursuant to this regulation. No more than 8 members of the same household should be in close proximity to each other, and no more than 2 persons who are not from the same household shall be grouped together or share a table. Spacing between tables at the bar or other seating arrangements shall allow for a minimum of 6 feet between persons. All persons shall wear face masks covering their nose and mouth. And there is some provisions for penalty here. The owner or operator of a restaurant or bar who contravenes the provisions of this section commits an offense and shall be liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $10,000 or to closure of the business or the establishment or both. So this is simply saying that if we find that bars or restaurants are not following these protocols in terms of the physical distancing and the hygiene protocols and the wearing of masks in the establishment, you are liable to be closed down by either a police officer or the compliance team, and you run the risk of being fined, if you are taken to court, up to $10,000. or to imprisonment for 6 months. So we do not want to stop the operation of bars and restaurants. Those can continue, but you must continue within the guidelines that I've just specified. You will not be allowed to hire DJs or bands to operate at your establishment, because these would attract crowds that will be difficult to comply with the protocols that I've just outlined. Now, persons who have applied or who have been granted approval to have takeaway dinners or breakfast sales outside the established bars and restaurants, you may allow to continue these events. However, again, we expect that the protocols be observed. Persons must form a line, and they must be wearing masks and observe the physical distancing measures. Business meetings may continue. We've had some applications for annual general meetings. Workshops, you may continue with your workshops, but again, the protocols must be applied. The social and physical distancing, the hand hygiene protocols, and the honor sanitization measures, as well as the wearing of masks while at these events. So I hope that I would have provided some clarity as to what events may be allowed to proceed and what events are not. So parties, boat rides, bands and DJs, playing at restaurants, these are restricted for now. Those persons who would have had permissions, their permissions have been cancelled. You would have received an email by now, and no new permissions will be granted. No karaoke. I've just been asked by Mr. Leswai, who likes karaoke. No karaoke, Mr. Williams. Just the normal bar operation, where you may have soft background music at the bar, but no music that would provide for dancing and that sort of activity where persons forget about the social distancing. So we hope that we will get good cooperation. As I mentioned, the compliance teams will be out, the police would be vigilant, and we will ensure that these protocols, these measures are adhered to, and persons found in violation, they run the risk of facing up to $10,000 in fines and to have their establishment closed down. So it's better that you keep your establishment open, follow the protocols, and keep your establishment open, than to break the protocols and have to close down for the entire weekend. Thank you.